thanks for, I was about to say thanks for having me on.
Yeah, well, we are on something, aren't we?
Thank you for coming on. But look, first thing I've got on my agenda here is a congratulations, because you were married a couple of weeks ago now.
Yeah, I've actually got the ring to prove it.
Nice one. And this is where I've got a little comment in my notes to provoke a little story with your ring. So you've got, I asked you the question in the Telegram group, who did you marry first? Did you marry RFOX Labs or did you marry your missus? And what's the story beyond that?
Yeah, I definitely, RFOX, I made it pretty clear to her when I met her that work comes first and work comes before anything else, and that I said to her, we want to build an empire. We want to make sure that this group of companies is something that's a force to be reckoned with. And she said, that's what I like about you. So she got into the whole product of KOGs when we launched it and started collecting it. In the beginning, she sort of just did it to appease me, I think. And then after a couple of weeks, I couldn't pry her away from the screen and she was trying to finish all her sets. So I thought, why not create a KOG? Well, a KOG-like NFT and send that to her as a trade, as a proposal, which the people out of the NFT world might not think too much of it. But her being a big trader and into this, she absolutely loved it. So she actually got, I don't know if it's been said, you probably can't even see it because of the thing, but she actually got RedFOX Labs engraved on the wedding rings, and I never asked her to do that.
Yes, so that is, I didn't actually know the story prior to that one, but that was the one that I was talking about, the actual engraving on the ring. So that's cool. But the way that you had done that through an NFT is pretty cool as well. So it's about knowing your target, mate. You've done really well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that sort of happened in the midst of everything, and the good thing about it is that she sort of just run with it and just sort of understands the schedule and understands how things work. So we've just carried on business as usual.
Yep, that's awesome. So there's a couple of these personal questions here, Ben, and it sort of stems from that every other interview that we've watched over the last few months in particular, we don't really, there's been no real personal questions on who you are and who the team is as well. So we'll get to the team. We'll get to the team in a minute. But first of all, where did you grow up? Where did you grow up in Australia? What were you like as a kid? What inspired you as a kid? Did you always dream big as a kid? Because clearly you're dreaming big now. Did you always grow up dreaming something that other people weren't?
Yeah, sure. I was dragged up, I reckon, in Adelaide. It was Adelaide's actually a pretty good place to grow up because it's small, but you've got a bit of country and a bit of city feel, so it's an all right place to grow up. And my parents were probably the most happily married people you'll ever meet, and still are. So never saw any arguments or fighting or disagreements. It was all done out of our view. So I guess I had a utopian childhood, I guess, in that sense. We were not well off by any means, but we had a nice home and a nice loving home. And I think that when I was a kid, by the time I was about 15, I actually had the same dreams I've got now. This is where the whole start with the end in mind and work your way back comes from. I said, I want to have a coffee shop on the beach. And what I'd like to be able to do is not have to sell a coffee to keep it open. As a 15-year-old, you think money grows on trees, right? And I thought that I'd have all my best mates around and we'd sit around and we'd spitball what type of businesses we could start up or invest in. And it'd be kind of like a little club, and we'd invest and start up, lots of different businesses that we're interested in. And weirdly enough, that's actually what we're doing now, and the coffee shop sort of fits onto the end of that. So I'm working with I'll talk about that when we talk about the team, but the fact is that I always knew that I wanted to do something impactful, and I wanted to make sure that whatever I did made a difference in some way, shape or form. So I think even at school, I was bored, not interested, and just wanted to get out there and crack on and have a go. And I always, if someone told you you could have this or have that, I'd always say you can go further and do more, and had very encouraging parents who always said, you want to play cricket, play for Australia. You want to play football, play AFL. So it was always, don't limit yourself, just achieve. And my father's saying is punch through your target. He was a big martial artist, and just smash it. So I've always had that the theory and the view that we can do whatever we like, and there's no excuses if we can't do absolutely everything we want to do.
So you say that you had, that sort of mentality or the vision from the start. Obviously, blockchain hasn't been around for that long. So when blockchain came along, was that some sort of, this is what I'm going to do? Well, how long did it take for that to actually, for the universe to deliver you that idea?
I think that, to be honest, I'd sort of worked out that in Adelaide, I'd set a goal to try and become a CEO by 30, and I did that. But the problem was that I found it very difficult to find jobs that were good enough paying in Adelaide. So I had to do fly in, fly out roles, or companies that were in multiple states. And then I realised the pond was quite small for what I wanted to do. So I wanted to travel and see the world, and I wanted to find something I could do that was global. So I did a lot of started off with operations and contact centers and customer experience and turnarounds, greenfields projects. So I sort of had a bit of a varied skill set that I could apply anywhere I went in the world. But the blockchain side of things only came in when I was an expat, because anyone who's ever worked overseas and tried to send money back to Australia or from Australia realizes that they just literally bend you over a table, and there's no dinner and drinks. It's just straight into it. And I was sick and tired of giving up a large chunk of money every month. And I thought, there's got to be a better way than lining up at a Western Union with a bunch of other foreign overseas workers that are trying to send money back to their families. And it was a 6-hour ordeal every month. Nice. And to send for every 5,000 US that I'd send back, it would cost me 700 per 5,000 and no one would claim the fee. It was always like, it's Western Union's fee. No, it's the bank fee. No, it's the people that convert the money from Kuwaiti dinar into US into Aussie dollars. And no one would ever really take ownership, but someone was taking a heap, and I thought there's got to be a better way. So that's where the whole sort of interest in the cryptos came about. And then and then that sort of, it was more about the cutting edge tech, because also I've worked for disruptive tech startups, and my friends had worked for, some of the people I know had worked for companies that were startups eating noodles. I was probably the one that went out and got the CEO role and thought, I'm doing all right. I'm I can look after myself, and I'm doing okay. But those guys are the ones that made the sacrifices and believed in whatever vision was in front of them. They were the ones that did really well. So I missed out on the .com boom, and when I saw what blockchain was what the potential of it was, I thought, I'm not missing out again this time. This is the next big tech movement, so have to get in and get involved.
Yeah, definitely. And that is exactly what I was about to say, is that you are doing that very thing that you explained about what your mates were doing, eating the noodles. And funnily enough, I was going to send you a message earlier about how the noodles going at the moment, because there is a note here about later on. I want you to talk me through the vesting period, because I haven't actually heard you speak about that for the team. So we will get to that. But another personal one. So by next year, 2021, we know, I know, you know, people who know, as stupid as that sounds, that in 2021, the RFOX community is going to grow exponentially. We know that because there are so many good things that are coming. You've already dropped a couple. But what do you love, before it gets to that point, what do you love about the community right now?
For me, I've always had a heavy slant and lean towards the customer experience and people. So I've always loved the cultural change management aspects of roles and people management. So I can't help myself. I've been told a million times by the team, you've got to get out of Telegram, and you've got to spend more time on X, Y, and Z and the strategy and the partnerships and stuff that we're doing. But I keep getting drawn back in there. And even if we've got solid community manager or whatever, I still find myself back in there, because the customer experience that I've been doing for 2 decades, you can't just, you can, what do they say? You can take something out of the jungle, but you can't take the jungle out of them. You've just got to, I have to be speaking directly to the people, and I have to understand what it is that makes the community react a certain way and all the rest of it. So the thing I love the most about it is it's at a size now, and we've capped that purposely. As you know, we've made it really hard to find the channel and all the rest of it. The reason being, we were starting to get a couple of solid supporters and a good community being built. And it just gets flooded with these bloody scammers and people trying to offer support, help, and rip people off. And I spent a fair bit of time just trying to help people that were taken advantage of or whatever. And I said, this is crap. If you have to have a Telegram channel and all the rest of it, let's just cut it and let's just let the, because having 19,000 people in a group versus 800, realistically, if 11 or 12,000 of those people are scammers and bots, then I'd rather not have the group at all. So
exactly.
I know we can't sustain this and it will grow, but I don't want to lose the personal contact, because how I do things is I look at data first. Data tells me, if I talk to you and I say, how many girlfriends you got? You're going to say, well, 1 or 2, because I'm married. I can't talk about that. And I'd say, you ever taken drugs? And you'd say, no, never before, mate. I'm never. The thing is, people tell you in surveys and feedback and interviews and all the rest of it, a lot of the things that they think is okay to talk about and acceptable and all the rest of it. But the data tells you what they actually do. Yeah. So what I do is have a look at the data, and then I go and ask questions that help me put context to why those things are happening or why that's going on. So when I'm coming in and talking to people in the community, it's either to appease people, give some clarity, and sometimes just fishing to try and find out why that perception is, where did it come from, why would you think that, and then try and correct things. So I don't want to lose the contact that I have with the community. That's what I worry about.
Well, you know that eventually you will, but a lot of what you just said then resonated with my faint memory of a book called Start With Why. I think it's by Simon Sinek.
Simon Sinek, yep.
Yes, and he talks about all of the greats, Walt Disney, Walmart founder, Apple, and a lot of similarities of what you just said then also apply to what they had done by leading from the front and say, I think the figure throughout there was 800 in the Telegram group. If you do continue to do what you're doing now, and this is only my personal opinion, but if you keep doing what you're doing now, mid next year, it's like you're going to have another 800 employees for free who are doing, who are promoting this this venture builder group, whether it's the gaming or the streaming side of it or whatever it is. Having you in that group, and again, just my opinion, makes the world of difference. Just popping your head in, even if it's 2 or 3 messages a day, it's massive and it makes a huge difference. So I was just curious as to what you thought, and that's good answer. So thank you.
Well, on Simon Sinek and Start With Why, we read a lot, more than a book a week, and those guys have all come from the same type of backgrounds and circles. So the Tony C's and the Simon Sinek's, and these people are all very much attuned to the same type of, they understand that the experience gets the longer term better results. So we'd rather have a group of super fans than we would to have a group of people that sort of come in, ask when the announcement is flipped one week and then moving back. We'd rather build a group of users and testers and people that are actually wanting to get involved, and to highlight that when we launched the KOGs. We've got a Discord group. We have a chat every night in there for an hour. And the two of our most recent hires have come from the Discord group. So we fish through there, look for people's skill sets, see how they engage with the community, and we bring them on. We put them on a trial for a couple of months on a contract. And if they get through, then we bring them into the main team. And that's what we're going to keep doing.
That is very cool. That is very, very cool. So there's opportunity out there for people if they want to keep putting their best foot forward. Like there are in the private Telegram group. There's a lot of people in there that are helping out on the daily.
100%.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin Benny, I wanted to call you that at least once throughout this interview. So Bitcoin Benny, I just want to get a quick some quick thoughts on Bitcoin. I know it's a bit of a sidestep, but Bitcoin's king, and this one only just got added in today. Look, Stan Druckenmiller coming out saying that Bitcoin's basically looking like a good hedge, good bet. Paul Tudor Jones, Michael Saylor's going ape shit. What's your thesis on Bitcoin over the next 12 to 24 months? Surely it can only go up. What are your thoughts?
Well, I got it's anything's only worth what a person's prepared to pay for it. But the fact is, there's a lot of people that are prepared to pay for Bitcoin, which is a good sign. I think that Bitcoin's price is like a thermometer or a gauge on what the world thinks of the current and existing financial system. So the higher the price goes, the more screwed people think it is. And the more screwed they think it is, the higher it's likely to go. The one conflict that I have in all of that is I feel as though inside of let's use a house as an analogy or a metaphor. It feels like we're all having a big party and crypto rockets getting ready to take off and everybody's bullish and all the rest of it. But on the outside, if you look outside on the street, for example, there's body bags lined up along the street with the COVID ramifications. We've got industry shut down. They're all got lagging indicators, which means that we're not going to really see the impact until the upcoming quarters for that. We've had this whole election cock up and a lot of uncertainty. So technically speaking, those two worlds can't coexist for an indefinite period of time. And the only thing that's really happening in that metaphor is someone's using a money printer to print a wall between those two worlds. And the stock worlds and the crypto worlds are both benefiting, and the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. So the thing is that wall has to come down. It's a matter of which side wins. So if we're on the right side of it and we can get through this and the key industries sort of hold steady, it is possible that Bitcoin will keep grinding away and do very, very, very well. If the wall falls down, there's still a chance that it will still grind up and do okay. But personally, unless we dodge this bullet by some miracle or force majeure, I can't see how at some stage we're not going to go into some sort of more deeply impacting type of recession or something like that. I mean, whether it's a big parabolic bull run then that, I just don't understand how we dodge this bullet.
Well, it's a very strange one because I speak to a lot of people, and I'm only a noob at the macroeconomic world myself, but there's no doubt that we're in a recession. People just don't realise that we're in a recession because you've got governments that are handing people money all over the world. So the blow has been softened to quite a degree, but this might be a nice little segue into your team. So what does Piercy think about this? Is it Glenn Pierce?
Yeah, it is.
So because he's got a background in finance.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does indeed.
Yeah.
I think that, look, he's very much, I think he sees what I see. We do a lot of industry research. We look at what a lot of these companies are doing. We speak to VCs a lot, obviously, and these guys are all, the term that they keep using is we've got hot feet and ice cold fingers, meaning that they want to run and do deals, but they've had the clamps put on them and they're not allowed to invest. A lot of the startups have been told that even though they've met their milestones to receive their next payment from the VCs, that they've been told they're not getting it. So a lot of the VCs have their hands tied, and Glenn and I talk about it all the time, but to be honest, we probably don't talk about it as much as we should because our focus is so much on trying to, we've grown so fast that poor Glenn, I think when he first started, and I talked about doing this with him, and we came up with the concept and stuff. I think he thought, we could do this, we could build something, we can build. I don't think he was prepared for, and none of us could have been prepared for the hours and the work and the effort and the setbacks and the hurdles that we've had to overcome. And he's been amazing because I think that I've worked with a lot of people that have broken before under extreme pressure and stress and all the rest of it. And he's basically gone 2 years on a few hours a night sleep and same thing. And just, you don't know how we stand upright, but the fact is that we just love it. And he said to me right in the middle of it, and we were talking about this type of stuff. And he said to me right in the middle, he said, I'm exhausted, but I don't want to go to bed. I just want to stay up and keep doing this. And it's, but I think that I think he's much of the same opinion that it's hard to see how we dodge it, but let's see how the money printer thing keeps going and see if they can get us through it. But the crypto market does look, regardless of outside factors, it does look extremely well poised, doesn't it?
And that's one of the things that I'm cautious with is that everyone thinks it's going to go up. What generally happens? It goes down.
Exactly. So, when people are greedy, be fearful.
Yeah. So I'm just look, I'm a long-term hodler anyway, mate. I'm working my way through a trading course just to learn a few tricks and tips. So I'm not going to be trading for quite a few years, but long-term hodler, nice and easy. Just whack it on a ledger.
That's the way to go.
And just throw it in a safe off-site and happy days, and just forget about it.
You will 100% that tactic. You will get so far ahead of the people that are continually making switches and changes to the new thing, and then looking at longing and shorting positions, because anyone who tries to pick tops and bottoms ends up destroyed. So you just need to find things. What I always used to say as Bitcoin Benny was find things you love and then revisit them every 6 months and say, do the fundamentals still stack up? Are they still progressing? Are they still there? And you've got the right to change your mind at any time on any of your investments. But if you're changing daily and weekly, I've known many day traders in my life, and I think I could probably count one or two that have actually ended up making money.
Yeah, and getting that financial freedom that
most of them are wrecked.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you just got to. But the ones that have held and put their money somewhere and then come back 5 years later, they're the ones that end up way ahead.
Yeah, and that's what I always kick myself when I think Nugget posted at the start of the year for his son. He bought a Bitcoin for $3K, and he's just going to let it sit there, and he's going to give it to him when he's 18. I'm spewing that I didn't get to do that. I'm not doing it now. I'm not going to remortgage a house to do it, but it is a very cool idea. Anyway, mate, it's been about 25 minutes. I haven't even asked a RFOX Labs question. So the first question about what you're doing, and this one only slipped in late because it only just dawned on me. But why did you decide to go with the gaming arm of RFOX Labs first?
Yeah, so we were lucky enough, it was probably 2 years ago or so that I sat down, maybe 2.5 years ago, I sat down and had a chat to Ark Legger in an interview, and he'd been following me to learn about crypto. And someone had said, oh, you got this guy that's following you and he's pretty legendary in the gaming space. You should talk to him. And then someone wrote a comment on Twitter or something and said, you guys should talk to each other. So I said, come on, let's have a chat. And he said, I've been following you for a couple of years and let's have a chat. So we got on there and we started talking about gaming and whether the worlds could collide, and talking about NFTs and NFTs in games and stuff like that. And at the end of the interview, I said, you should come work for me. And he said, I work for, a very big gaming company, and I've worked for Sony for years, and you're a startup, you don't have cash, how are we going to do that? And I said, you watch, you'll come across, we'll build stuff together, we'll make games, and they'll end up being successful, and this is how we'll do it. And we both had a bit of a giggle about it. And then, a year later, he sort of said, hang on, I'm here. How did this happen? So the fact is that it was always on the radar, because this region of the world which we're targeting is very heavy into mobile gaming. You can't go anywhere without finding someone in a store or getting service. You have to pry them away from their mobile video games. And we thought this is a really good way to build the bases to then build our other businesses on if we've got an active, huge community. And the NFTs, we could see that was going to be big. Took us a lot longer than we would have liked to get our first release out, because it was 18 months of tinkering with building a game on chain. We were trying to be the first game to ever build a full game on chain on a mobile that's not going to destroy all your data and all the rest of it. So we've stuck to that. We had difficulties where we were with the technology. Took us 18 months of piss farting around trying to build it and get it up. And then we spoke to some guys over at EOSIO on the wax side, and they said, we can see what you're trying to do, and what's taken you 18 months, we can do this in 6 weeks or 7 weeks, and just this is like, it's not brain surgery, it's pretty straightforward. So we were like, wow, we've just spent 18 months trying to work all this out. But all the work had gone into where the team was. There was only one person or two people on the back end, and everybody was working on the art, the design, the mechanics, and all of that type of stuff. So the whole team could move easily, and then we got a bigger back end team, and then they're smashing that out now. So that was, we could see that NFTs would also bridge to other things like DeFi, which we're about to sort of really push into now, and we can see that it has links to commerce and lots of other things. So we saw that it was coming. Thank God it waited for us, because we were a little bit late to the party. And then we ended up launching at exactly the right time. And this is the perfect time to be an established NFT player. Absolutely.
So basically what you've done is you'd identified the section of your end goal that had the most amount of room to grow, and you tackled that first. Obviously, some pieces fell into place with Ark Legger coming across as well.
Well, that's probably why, though. That's why, because we have 4 sectors that we target, and we have a 9-point funnel system. And if the good part about that, there's no emotion to that. So if we think an idea is good, we put it in. If it doesn't come out the bottom, then we don't do it. And we had 4 things on the table after putting heaps of things through the funnel, and that was the one where we had the first expert in that particular industry that could help us get it off the ground and going. So that one made the most logical sense to do first. But it's by no means what we think will be the biggest. That's like literally, it's probably the smallest opportunity that we have.
I think I first seen you say that a couple of weeks ago, and we've got a little private chat on Messenger. There's 4 of us in there, and we've named the group RFOX. But we first seen you say that a few weeks ago, probably 2 weeks ago, that the gaming is by no means the biggest sector of RedFOX Labs.
No.
And boy, oh boy, did we get excited. I think you might have seen a comment on Twitter from it, actually, from myself, and you said that is very Aussie. I'm just going to turn the light on. Sorry, mate.
No worries.
A bit better. There we go. So the recent news, Coincilium. Congratulations. Big news.
Thank you.
So explain to people, what exactly does this mean for RFOX Labs going forward?
Yeah, so everybody obviously, when they're following RFOX, wants to know what the utility of the tokens is, and it's all good to see progress, and it's all good to see people working with us, but what does it actually mean longer term? So you have to do a division between all of the things that you're actually doing, and each thing has to focus or provide a particular outcome. So when it comes to dealing with something like the crypto stamps, this is a very good PR thing for us, because not only have we got a joint stock company registered, are we working with stock listed companies, and then bringing in your Novogratz type people as well. But the thing is that now we're actually doing a project that's, with the government. And this is the first government in the queue. So the thing is that we didn't look at this and say, hey, we can build a venture out of this, or hey, we can make a ton of money out of this. This is not the case at all. This is much more of a, we're evolving in the NFT space. We're learning a heap. People have recognized that. Governments want to work with us. All of the artwork for the stamps has to get signed off by the Queen, because it's a Commonwealth country. So the thing is that this is kind of like a big tick of validation for us. So it's more about PR, more eyeballs, diversified audiences looking at us. Not everything's immediately about token price or utility, but with that comes all of the utility, because ultimately, we're going to announce that. Actually, I can probably say a few things, because this is not, depends when you're putting this out, but there is
when you want me to put it out.
Okay, because we're about to go out and announce a lot more utility for the token. So so this is sort of, give us an exclusive, Benny. Give us an exclusive. Oh, I can. It won't be exclusive by the time you post it necessarily. Depends when you get it. But but the thing is that this is more of a tick of where we're getting heavier recognition, and bigger players want to work with us, and governments and stock listed companies are prepared to say, you're the guys that we need working with us. So this is legitimacy,
establishment, getting you actually foot within the industry as a real player, to have that two-way street, rather than having a small little startup approach, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You just do your thing, and they'll come to you. That's this is
much awesome for the team. This is as much for the team as it is for the company, in the sense that this gives also us a tremendous validation, because when we're sitting here and we're doing things behind the scenes, we're running around like chooks with our heads cut off, and we're trying to get everything organized. And then you have to go out with that sense of calm. And anyone who tells you that, they're fully in control when they're talking about brand new tech and development and all the rest of it, they're full of shit. So the thing is that this is validation to the team that it might look a little bit chaotic, well, a lot chaotic on the inside, but on the outside, we're ticking the right boxes. And we're overly critical, because we know exactly where, it's like a chef. If they stuff up a mushroom or something, they know that mushrooms are dodgy, but no one else notices, So the thing is that it's we notice the little things and sweat the bullets that we probably don't need to, but that's just a sign that you've got the right people in the team, because they care from the beginning of the process right through till, consumers are using it. We care the whole way, and we think, damn, that should have been better. It's not up to our standards, and we've got to lift the bar. And when you see like today's ad come out for the second edition for the game and all the rest of it, and for the second edition KOGs, we're leveling up all the time. The websites are getting better, the team's growing, the input's better. We were just a few dudes sitting around with a great idea, doing all of this ourselves, and pulling on people's pant legs to notice us. We did get a bit sick of that. And then once we actually started getting up and running, now we've got all of those people coming back and saying, hey, let's sit down and have a chat. And we're saying we're busy, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we
must
think
be a
we're
good
at a
feeling.
stage where it is.
Must be
it's
a very
validation.
Good feeling. And you deserve absolutely, mate. And there's a smile that's just that's popped onto your face, and rightly so, because one thing I will say about so you say that there was just yourself and a couple of dudes that were sitting around. So obviously, as the team has grown, quality control of other team members can sometimes go out the window. I'm not sure how big your team is at the moment, whether it's 12 or whether it's 20 or 30 or 40, but it seems to be that authenticity still shines through with all of your recent press releases, all of your other videos, whatever it is. So that is just an amazing job in itself, to have that quality control across the board and have everyone singing off the same song sheet, because from what I've seen, and by no means am I an expert in anything of what you're doing, but one thing I do know is that if you've got certain people who are doing other things, it's not working. So all of the cogs are spinning as they should. You like that one?
Yeah, we're around that mark. As far as the staff is concerned, like I say, we have contractors and then gates. So we don't ever want to be bigger than 30 people as far as our core team's concerned. And so we're like the spider's body, and we want to use the legs. If we've got a marketing firm that we use, or an agency that we use, we then turn around and say, after a certain period of time, if that line item becomes too costly and it's something that we can replicate and potentially on build to other people, we just replicate that and do it ourselves. So when we're approaching that halfway mark towards getting towards the full gamut of the core team. However, we've got lots of contractors that we work with and work for us. So the team is readily scalable up and down at any moment's notice. So, but the answer to your previous question, we weren't comfortable when it was a smaller group of people and we're all having to do everything, because we believe bakers should do bakers' work and mechanics should do mechanics' work, and we were doing everything. So the thing is that we're far more comfortable when we get more people, because we're used to running large workforces. I've had to manage up to 7,000 people in some of the global roles. So the thing is that we're much more comfortable dealing with bigger teams and having some sort of order rather than just manic chaos, because some of the stuff that we were doing before, none of us were brilliant at, and we just sort of had to learn it and pick it up. So we were like, we can't wait for the day that we can get this person on and this person on and this person on. Now we can't bring them on fast enough to meet the demand. So it's another problem, but it's a good problem.
Very good problem to have. Very good problem to have. So you mentioned Novogratz earlier. So tell us a little bit about the man. Have you spoken to him personally? He seems like a character and a half. I've only seen a little bit of footage of him since like Nugget's my number one man. He's I watch Nugget and I follow Nugget, everything that he says. You know, obviously I do my own research as well. Of course I do. But every single interview that Nugget's done this year anyway, I've watched. The one with Novogratz is where I first came to know him. And he seems like a character. I've done a little bit of a dive on him. Give us your thoughts. Give us your thoughts on Mike Novogratz.
Yeah, he is a character. He's a flamboyant, colourful character. And I mean, most of the people that sort of get to his level and his sort of notoriety don't do it because they're vanilla and boring. They're either controversial, or your Elon Musks and your people that are in the spotlight all the time are people that are dreaming big and going out there and not afraid to talk about that. And they pick up trends quicker than other people and ahead of other people. So yeah, he is a character. But the day-to-day dealings, we're dealing more with two of the other people in the organisation on the majority of the dealings. But ultimately, I think that that they see the potential in Southeast Asia. Firstly, they want exposure to this market. They think that the industry sectors that we've chosen are the right ones, and I think they're extremely bullish on what they call discovery finance, which is our e-commerce streaming that comes out next. And they like, I think they're very, they like the fact that we've been able to, during a down market, release a product that's got substance, that's got traction, and is actually, we're growing our business when everybody else is scaling down. So this is an extremely bullish sign, because even we probably didn't realize it enough that almost every venture builder either ends up morphing into being an incubator, an accelerator, or a fund, because they can't make the build out model work. almost all of them fail, and they need huge amounts of money. So we've been able to rejig the process and design a model that has allowed us to launch on a very, very modest budget, and then start to grow, get ourselves into a good position and to attract the likes of that. We've sort of resisted a lot of the previous approaches, and to have your first actual major investor come aboard and say, and be at that level, and for them to come in on their own as opposed to a round, is testimony that we definitely are on the right track, and we're actually we believe that we didn't need much help. We just need a little tiny bit of help, and we can sort of do this on our own. We don't need to sell the farm and to have a whole group of people coming in and telling us how to do stuff, because we've proven well enough that we do know how to make it work, and now it's up to us to try and reinforce that to ourselves and to the outside world. Because if we can do this ourselves internally and grow it from within, and resist all of that outside help, you end up doing something like a MailChimp. MailChimp ended up becoming a $4 billion business and never took any outside funding. So I think we can emanate a lot of that by just choosing the right partners and the right people to work with. I think we can go far.
Yep, that's awesome. That is cool. Yeah. That is very cool. So just with that, just quickly before we move on. So he's obviously invested in RedFOX Labs, but what that means for you is just to give you the freedom to be able to do exactly what you want to do without. I know that you've said a couple of times here tonight, and in other interviews as well, that when you've got Arc Legger across, well, you've got no money. How are you going to do it? Does that just give you the freedom now to be able to basically do whatever you want, how you want? Or what does that investment from Novogratz and Galaxy Digital mean?
Basically, to be probably get in trouble. To be brutally honest, you need to have a name investor to sort of show that you've been recognised or validated. So it's a tick. It potentially opens up networks and stuff like that for us. But ultimately, it's more of a tick and a validation than it is anything else, because we've kind of got to the point where we've proven that we can do it on our own. But having a bit of help obviously doesn't hurt. What it does do for us in the immediate term is it just allows us maybe to make a few key hires a bit quicker and to sort of scale a bit faster, which we need to do to run. But other than that, we don't know what else it means at this stage. Like if it ends up being some top tier exchange listings or, Fortune 500 partnerships or whatever, then that's awesome. But ultimately we see it as a tick of approval, acknowledgement, and the chance to be able to hire a few new people. That's about as far as we see it at this stage.
So pretty much running the same parallel road with the Coincilium as a publicly listed company just gives that legitimacy, that public acknowledgement that RedFOX Labs are doing the right thing. They're heading in the right direction. Okay, nice one. Yeah, cool. So let's talk a little bit about the liquidity pool on Uniswap. And then I've got a couple of other questions. There's some DGen farmers who have sent me a message asking me when it's going over to SushiSwap. But first we'll talk about the figures for Uniswap. So October, early 20s, 22nd, 23rd, I think, is when the liquidity pool started. And then within 1 month, the figures are off the top of my head, but over $1 million, 1.3.
Yeah, it's crazy. Million, I think it's 1.2 or 3 now.
Now I'm no expert on these things, but that's insane.
It's not normal. Yeah, that just goes to show you that we've got a really passionate and supportive community and all the rest of it, and they're sticking by us. And I think that a lot of the people in our community that put in also didn't have a lot of experience with Uniswap prior. And me personally, I have tried to do as much research as I possibly can, but it's also a new concept for me. We've been heavily in the Bitcoin side of the space, and now coming across to the Ethereum side, this is all pretty new stuff. And I talked to a lot of the CEOs of the big DeFi projects and stuff, and about what we can do with these guys, and try to get my head around it and understand it a little bit better. But it's all new and it's evolving pretty quickly. But there's a lot of people out there that understand it a lot better than I do. But I think it's an amazing, I don't know what you want to call it, an advancement or an invention, but the ability to have a guaranteed liquidity pool is pretty awesome. And the fact that it is so decentralized, it's everybody's running running it themselves. I really
That's
like
right.
this concept a lot. But yeah, the pool's big. It's big.
Yeah. Well, that's, obviously done a little bit of research prior to our chat, because just to freshen up on a couple of things and obviously get more than the dozen questions that I had. But yeah, once I actually looked at those figures, I knew that we hit 1 million, shortly after a month.
Yeah.
But after that, it's averaged at around 1.1 million since then. So for the last 4 or 5 weeks, for, only being live for a couple of months, that seems pretty good.
It's pretty good. Yeah. And I think the announcement we're going to make, we're going to make the announcement today, but so I can sort of say it because it's going to come out shortly. But effectively, what's going to happen with the sale is we're doing something that's never been done before. So in the first sale, we did a 3-hour window on the wax side, and you can buy as many packs as you like for the 3 hours, and then after 3 hours, it's all over. So what we're going to do is a simultaneous sale on Uniswap with RFOX and a ERC token, and that token is redeemable. It's a redemption token for 4 boxes of NFTs. Now, the beautiful part about all of this is there's game theory comes in play, because we're going to start it with a 10% discount, and then what it means is that that'll get to a price very quickly where people sort of say, okay, how does this compare to buying 30 packs over on the wax sale, which I can still do? But what's going to really be interesting is that those pools will obviously continue after the sale. So people are going to have these tokens, and they're going to say, well, the packs from the last sale did a 10x. So if I hold this token, it should buy rights to whatever. So there'll be speculators, and we don't know for sure. No one's ever done this. We think that the vast majority will never sell the tokens. They'll hold the tokens. And so the DGens will come in and say, hey, here's a new token, but it's actually backed by a valued NFT. So it's backed by an asset. So this is actually cool. It gives it value. And the great part about it is there'll probably only be 200 or 300 or 400 of these box tokens sold. And then what will happen is every time someone burns one and claims their packs on the wax side, it's deflationary. So this token's going to become lower and lower in supply. And therefore, I know it's not an NFT, it's a fungible ERC token, but this ends up becoming the most sought after NFT, because if you've got a box and it's very limited in supply and there's not many of them floating around, then this becomes the game theory of
that is getting into some seriously uncharted territory, and
it's amazing.
I'm gonna have to watch this back to fully get my head around that. That's borderline degen. That's some uncharted territory. That is some cool concept.
It is pretty cool. We actually sat around as a group, and we're sitting here today about to roll it all out, and we're sitting here saying, Jesus, like, this is the wow,
what's going to happen?
But we're looking at it from our perspective, because we bought our pack. If we wanted to trade, we bought off the secondary market, right? Yeah. So we've been supporting our own project, and we've been making sure that we do get in and know the product and learn it. And because we know the product so intimately, where they're saying, okay, well, the people on the ERC side, they're not going to be able to burn and cash their tokens straight away. There's a delay period, right? And that's for a reason. We don't want people to be able to hack contracts and all the rest of it. So you would claim, and then it would take a certain period of time for it to land in your wallet. So if you want to rip packs open and get early mints quickly, then you're going to be on the wax side buying, because if low mints are your thing, then just quickly buy them from the wax side and open them and crack them. If you were the type of guy that had heaps of packs in your wallet and you waited till they went up from 20 to 200 bucks and you thought, I'm just going to sell packs and make money, you don't even have to do that. You can just sell the token. You don't even have to sell the pack. You can sell the token. So the great part about this is everybody's got a theory from the small group that are working on it and networking it, and saying, well, I'll probably buy a token, but I'd probably go for, okay, so it's really interesting. And then already talked to other people about the potential for this to be a listed token. I mean, the thing is, it's going to have a very small supply. Yeah. The value is inevitably going to go up. It can't go down because it's backed by something that has a set value. Yeah. So this is kind of the thing that's going to make it interesting is that we'll stock a pool with more tokens than are needed, and match that with RFOX. But the way Uniswap works is that it'll get to a point where you've got slippage. It'll start off at a slightly discounted rate, hit the normal rate. People will be selling back to make profits and buy while the thing's going on. And then after 3 hours, we say, we're pulling all of our liquidity and our tokens out. We burn all the tokens that we didn't sell. And then what we're going to do is commit to putting back some money in RFOX into the market to buy some of your tokens back off the market. And then we'll add an equal amount of RedFOX to that. So there's a liquidity pool for ongoing. That's it. And people, I think,
and then just let it go.
Everybody will know who RFOX is after this. People will know that we're moving towards using RFOX for everything. So this is we built on Wax and it helped us and all the rest of it, and that's cool. But future forward, we're moving into RFOX and for RFOX. So we really want to stamp our name as being creative. We don't have the same budget as a AAA studio, so we can't compete on those fronts. We shouldn't be doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, because then you're just going to get worse results at a higher cost. So what we have to do is say, screw it, we've got a great product, we've got a quality team. What we're going to do is we're going to shake the system up, and we're going to do something that makes people say, hang on, that's not how, but what do I do with it? It's up to you. You do it however you like. We'll get a product in your hand. And the good part about it is, if you're buying the boxes on the ERC side, if you buy a full token or a full redemption token, because you can buy partial tokens, you can buy a fragment of a box, and then you can sell that back into the pool. And anyone who wants to buy a whole token just goes in and buys a whole token. And the good part about this, it never expires. You can cash these boxes in 10 years later. These become like Catawise rare. Who the hell can get their hands on a box still? Yeah, it's pretty freaking mind-blowing, I must admit. We're very proud of this.
I want to ask questions about it, but I don't want to waste any time on it, because I'm not 100% sure that I've got it right in my mind. But I'm going to be looking forward to that press release coming out, because
it's pretty. I'll tell you the simplest way to think about it. You can buy packs on the Wax side, set price in Wax.
Yep, that's
crack
right.
them open,
that part's easy. Yeah. Yep.
On the other side, you're buying a token. Now, each full token will redeem a box of NFTs. Now, you can keep that, never redeem it, and just trade the token in part or full, a part of a token or a full token, or you can send that to, or go through a claiming process where you send it, it burns it, and it puts the packs in your Wax wallet. Now, you can hold that token for 10 years. Right. We can give out 0.1 of a token or 0.2 of a token as prizes, rewards. People have to buy the rest of the token to be able to claim the box.
Yes, exactly right. So if you were to sell on that ERC20 token, you've basically lost rights to those boxes. That's it.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right. Sweet. All right then. Oh well. Bring this speculation on. That's it's
going to be. I'll tell you what. This is going to ruffle some feathers. It's going to shake things up. There'll be people comfortable with the current systems who say, no, don't do that. But generally speaking, what we're doing is exactly what we should be doing. If we stay on Wax and sell to the same markets, everybody's primary sales have gone down since we've done our sale. We've been the most successful. So we can either say, let's just try and make it a bit sexier and snazzier, or we can do what we should be doing for our community, and that is saying, screw it, we're going across to where there's a much bigger community. We're going to show that KOGs can go anywhere and KOGs can travel. And what we're going to do is mint an NFT that is only available to people who buy a full token in the 3 hours. That is an Ethereum KOG. And it will be the first Ethereum KOG, and that can be sold on any of your OpenSeas or your Ethereum-based markets. So that is huge exposure. People will say, who's KOGs? If you want to go over and get the full set, you go over here. So that's it.
And you can only purchase that with RFOX.
Correct.
Is that right?
For the 3 hours. For the 3 hours. After that.
For the 3 hours, that's right.
If people want to put up a pool of USDC or ETH or whatever, we can't stop any of that. But only way you get it is RFOX.
Yes, nice one. That's cool. That is cool. So that's because that was your first little drop of utility for the RFOX token. A couple of days ago.
And then it's just going to explode as far as utility is concerned from that point on. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. So what's so Carbon Network, Sushi Swap? Are we obviously Carbon Network's on your radar? It's on the roadmap. It's on the website. Well, maybe not the website. It's on the black paper anyway. So Carbon Network first, and then give us a rundown on other liquidity pools like Sushi Swap.
We were set up and ready to go on Kyber. There was a few issues with some changes that were going on in the way the contracts work. So we were sort of waiting, and then as we waited, we realised that we probably need to let when we're starting a pool, like on something like a Uniswap, we thought we need to let that pool build. There's no point going out with small liquidity and spreading it over multiple pools and places. So we're the ones who ended up sort of holding back on that. So we're able to go anytime we like there. We just need to understand what the full benefit of doing that is. But we can do that, and the team have been really good there. We get along with them really well, and they're also Vietnamese based. So it's something that we definitely could look into for sure. Sushi, we haven't even talked to. We know that I think the guys behind FTX are involved in sushi now. I'm not too sure, but we have spoken to the FTX guys.
That's right. Sam from FTX.
Yeah. Sam.
Yeah.
So I can tell you a couple of things about that. So the FTX, we did talk to them, and they want that they look for any token they bring on or coin they bring on. They do list tokens and coins that they don't make into derivatives or whatever, but they're really looking at that derivatives and the ability to margin trade those tokens. Now, if you put margin trading on our token, what it would mean is that our price could never grow naturally. It would always be suppressed. It would pretty much stay where it is. There's no volume and people are just short it or long it and be able to manipulate the market very easily. So we're not a prime target or candidate for that type of an exchange until we get our volumes up. Now, even if we were, and we do get on there and we are talking to them, we would resist violently being put onto some sort of margin or leverage trading market, because we don't think it's going to be healthy for the long-term value of the token.
Yep, that makes perfect sense. So I've got some figures here, Benny. And now, how much time have you got, mate? We've almost done an hour. Are you happy to keep going?
I've got a little bit.
All right, beauty. So Southeast Asia. Now, I've plucked some of these figures from the black paper, and also read the e-commerce report a couple of months ago. I've done a decent little write-up for RFOX mid-September for Nuggets crypto community, and I've plucked some figures from both of those. So population, Southeast Asia, about 400 million, which is roughly 8% of the world population, which is massive, bigger than Australia and the United States combined. 2/3 of the 400 million are connected to the internet. Now that's pretty big. Now the industry is obviously starting to boom. Now, what's your vision of adoption with the mobile gaming app, and then more broadly for the RFOX ecosystem as you vision it? Because you've got you say that you start at the end and then you work your way back. Give us a bit of insight into
I'll start with the end of that question and work my way back. The end in mind, we all sat down when we first sat down to build this company, and basically turned around and said, when we reach the end of this journey for ourselves personally, what room are we in? Who are we with? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Try and visualize the picture of where you are, whether that's standing on New York Stock Exchange IPO ringing a bell, whether it's walking out with a box and a pot plant and waving goodbye. And we all have very clear goals on where we want to get to. So we also have goals for the company, and we wrote up on the very first day of we've got a war room here on the third floor, and we turned around and said, what are we building? Then we realized that if we build a whole lot of companies that are interconnectable, that it becomes like a super dApp. Now, we also built that in mind with the fact that they could be clicked apart. So if we have an acquisition for the gaming company, we can sell it. We can always replicate and build a new one, or we can say we're happy to let that one go. It's run its course, whatever. But the fact is that we want the network effect of having the multiple companies feed off each other. So that's really, really important. As far as like we see this as the RFOX token being used across all of the different businesses. Some of them don't require a token, and we don't believe in forcing a token into a business just for the sake of doing that. Now, a classic example is here in Vietnam, it is illegal to use anything that replaces the local currency as a form of payment. So we can have, for example, points in a wallet underpinned by a crypto that moves with the points, but at the settlement point, it has to be done in fiat. We can't do it in crypto. But if you build the infrastructure, then ultimately we can flip that switch at any time, depending on what happens with digital currencies. But ultimately, the end goal is for us to make it so that anyone that uses any of our products doesn't know that they're interacting with the blockchain. Or cryptocurrencies become such a conscious part of and it's become mainstream adoption that ours is one of the premier ones that can do the most. So that's right. But as far as the vision's concerned, and you talked about the internet users and all the rest of it, the percentage of the population that's actually part of the digital economy is actually less than 40% across the region. So just because a person has an internet connection or the number of internet connections equals a certain amount doesn't mean that all those people are part of the digital economy. So
that's what you're trying to change, correct?
We want digital inclusion. We want it to be that, like for example, Netflix, it's like the lowest subscription rate pretty much on earth is here in Vietnam. And you'll read varying stories. People will say it's because you can pirate and you can download stuff from amazing pirate sites. Now that's true, they do have that, but it's also because they enforce that you must pay with a credit card. Well, these people don't have credit cards.
Don't have a credit card.
So like make it that you can use your phone with a QR code and walk into your Family Mart or your 7-Eleven or whatever and top up or whatever. Why make it so bloody difficult? So we see this all the time. It drives us nuts. Like Glenn, Glenn ordered something one day, coffees, and he had to like send money from a bank account into an app across to another app and then send it across. It took us like 3 hours to get 2 coffees. And it was like, why is it so damn hard to get these systems to work? So we just, everywhere we go, we just think we can fix that. We know what needs to be done. Yep.
That's cool. Nice one. So let's talk about some of the other arms that are on the in the black paper. So the ride hailing.
Yeah.
So that's been mentioned. Has any work begun? You're not going to touch it. Never going to touch it.
It's in the sectors, and there's aspects like ride hailing and logistics. We can. That's the ones that logistics and food delivery and all those types of things. Those have exploded. No, those have exploded, and they can make money like your satellite kitchens and all that type of stuff. But ride hailing itself as a standalone. Because I worked at Grab before here, which is Southeast Asia's Uber, and that is a money pit. It is 50 cents a ride, subsidised both sides, and it's a land grab to get as much data and customers signed up as you can. You're never going to be profitable. We don't want to be building businesses that are not sustainable and not profitable, so scratch that one off the list. But the logistics side of things, there's heaps that can be done with tracking things from farm to fork and on the supply chain side of things. But we have that on our list of once we have a much stronger technical team on board.
Yeah. Okay. Then. So what about the online travel? So the hotels, the vacation, the flights.
Yeah. That one's probably further down the list as well. However, it's going to start creeping in because when we were looking at doing the cashback and streaming app, and that has a rewards component. We've already gone over to Myanmar. We did a partnership with a Myanmar firm. That probably would have taken place and kicked off had it not been for COVID, obviously. The whole sector closed down for travel and all the rest of it. So it's going to be a little bit of a nascent industry for some time. It's going to sort of take a while to pick back up. But we went over there to establish partnerships with key travel agencies and all the rest of it. So you'll start seeing some of our future projects be integrated into our current projects. So where we're really focused at the moment is we've got the cashback and streaming app done. So that is a matter of just literally we've even got logos, designs, names, everything's done. We've registered the business locally. That takes a long time. They're all done. We just need to transition the RFOX games across to the incoming team. So we're hiring the general manager. We're making sure that everyone knows how to keep this cycle going and running. And then we hand it over to people that are far, far better at running it, like Hierarch leggers than we are. So what we do is we retain board seats, advise and help these businesses grow and flourish. And what we need to then do is turn our attention to the cashback and streaming, which is going to be massive for us.
So can you run us through that? So one of your is it the right term, partner, Lazada? Is that one of your partners? Yep. So
we're like an affiliate partner.
Affiliate, that's the word that I was looking for. So an affiliate. So the way that the cashback and streaming app will work is that you're a partner with Lazada, who's a pretty big e-commerce online
Amazon of the region.
Shopping, exactly right. So they're owned by Alibaba Group, I think. So you're an affiliate of Lazada. Now, run me through how that would work for me as a consumer to get my 8% cash back with your affiliate of Lazada.
Okay, so people seem to think, oh yeah, cashback's been done before heaps of times in crypto, and you know, I like it, I don't like it. You have to push a token down people's throats. No, we don't do any of that. So it's really important to understand, first of all, that the streaming side of it is a $63 billion business in China alone. What people do is they put a camera in front of themselves like we are here, and I'd be saying, hi guys, I've got these RedFOX polo shirts. Do you like them? Now, thousands of people watch these streams, right? And then you can say, typing in, like if you're watching a Nuggets live stream, you type in, does it come in blue? Does it come in red? Once it grows to a certain size, these guys have like contact centers where they've got people that are answering the questions live. We've integrated a full AI chatbot that can answer all these people's questions and take deliveries and orders and check addresses and stuff like that. But effectively, you'd say to me, hey, Benny, can I get that in a red? And we'd say, you know, there's a number of people asking that same question. You'd say, it comes in red, blue, medium, large, blah, blah, blah. You go through, you click a button, it verifies your address, organizes payment. Then it actually gets that delivered to your doorstep. Now in Asia, that happens in a couple of hours. So we have a very good referral program to get people into that. But how it works is, once the return period is ended, so let's say you've got 30 days to return your shirt. Once that's ended and the cash is settled, we get, as RedFOX, we get 8% cash back in our bank cash. What we do is we give a percentage to the customers, right?
Yep.
So we'd be giving, for example, 7% to you and 1% to the people that are referring you in forever for everything you buy. Now, how it works is, you won't claim all your points. You'll claim some of your points. You'll save your points. You'll redeem your points. We'll have promotions to hold the points. So we get the slippage. We've got a constant stream of cash coming in that funds and grows and advertises and booms the network. And we've got a whole heap of people that have got points sitting in their wallets.
Yep.
Now, they can use those for any item on Lazada and anyone that we partner with. So those points are usable. I'm not going to say cash, and I'm not going to say it replaces cash, but those points are usable to redeem for anything that anyone we've partnered with, any of the Facebook businesses, so what will happen is influencers will come into the platform and say, it's a new platform, a new chance for me to advertise stuff. Lots of businesses have closed down in COVID and have got lots of inventory in stock they can't move. We're giving people a platform to be able to directly connect to large audiences. They give us a percentage for the right to do that. So we make money out of them streaming their products, and we get the cash back from the department stores. If it's their own store, we negotiate a higher rate, might be 10, 15, 20, depending on the business. Every time they make a sale, we get money.
That is a very tight-knit and intelligent way to do such a thing without replacing the local currency. That's
Yes,
that's pretty neat.
In China, it's all cashback streaming and influencers. It's not cashback; it's just streaming. It's just e-commerce streaming. So we're combining e-commerce streaming and giving you a percentage back as well. So this will be pretty big.
So you've got X amount of points in your wallet, and say something costs $30, X amount of points come to $15. You chuck in the other 15, bang, away you go. Everyone's happy. Okay, cool. Yeah, nice one, nice concept. All right, now she's getting on, mate, and I know that you're a busy man. So let's pump through the last couple. So the last big one that I want to ask you, and then we'll get on to some COGs questions. So have you considered any other blockchain, Cardano, Polkadot, any other? And are there bridges currently being built, or is there? They're all being built.
There's bridges like when we say bridges being built, a lot of them we don't have to build our own bridge, we have to plug into. And being anything other than an ERC20 token, it's very difficult to do that. So it was common sense for us to go there because it gives us a wider reach and audience. So the RSK one's done. We've already tested the bridge. It works for us, so that's cool. The Wax and EOS side is we're told is almost there. And then the other major ones are being built at the moment. So we unless there's a specific purpose to us building our own bridge, we just piggyback off of the bridges that are being built. But ultimately speaking, this is the first sneak peek today that you're going to see, and over the next coming weeks, of being able to use COGs across multiple platforms. we'll get to a point where it doesn't matter which platform you're on. If you've got KOGs, we can look it up in your wallet and you'll be able to play the game no matter where it is or where you are. So we are rapidly moving towards making sure that RFOX and KOGs are usable wherever you go.
Yep. Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
And you don't have to bridge anymore, because we'd be able to do lookups to say you've got them sitting in your Ethereum wallet, and if it's an access thing, no problems.
Yeah.
If it's a contract, like a DeFi contract where you put something up, you want to risk it in a battle or something like that, then we'd take advantage of all of the Solidity type contracts as well. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Okay. So nice little segue into KOGs then. So is there? I don't think there's currently support for KOGs in MetaMask. There's not, or is
actually
that,
we're building this as we speak. It should have been ready days ago, but it's not so much MetaMask. It's the Wax wallet is as a bit of a
fundamental.
An animal that the animal that bacon comes from. Can be a little bit of a temperamental beast. Yes.
Yeah. Okay then. All right.
It's not. I'll tell you what it is. It's actually optimized and built for PCs and laptops and all the rest of it for desktop. It's not optimized for mobile, so we're having to.
Okay then.
And our market's all mobile, so we have to. We're trying to
That's
fix
what you're targeting first. Yeah. Fair enough. So can you give us a price on the boxes to be purchased? What's the price? Has that been dropped yet? Have I missed out, or?
No, it hasn't been dropped. So what we're going to do is the pool, how it's going to work is there's tokens, right? So you've got to buy tokens from the pool. It'll be 1 token for a booster box and 2 tokens for a starter box. So all the tokens will be the same price. A box of starters is equivalent to $450 US, because that's got 30 packets in the box.
Yes.
So we're going to start the pool at a 10% discount. So we're going to start the Uniswap pool at $405 a token.
Yep.
And then let the RNG and let the RNG on the opening side, but on the Uniswap balancing contracts work out, and the demand work out the price.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what it's going to end up at.
So the way, so you'd want to get in straight away. Obviously, you wouldn't want to be getting in 2 hours and 58 minutes. So I've lost my next question. So that's significantly discounted though to start with. So you've got so you had
10%.
Yeah. Well, even if you were to be buying those packs individually, because what are the packs worth individually for a 10 pack?
So it's 12 KOGs for $15. So it would be $450 for 30, and you're getting it for $405. But you know how Uniswap works. As soon as someone buys 10 boxes or 12 boxes, the price is going to start to go right up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I've just lost myself there for a second, but that's all right. We'll push on. So you hinted the other day, Benny, that the wax market is saturated. You said it earlier yourself, but the one thing that you said the other day is that RFOX has a way to combat the saturation. And now, is that simply by what you're doing now, what you're explaining? Is that basically?
Well, this is not sneaky, and it's not something that's been it's calculated. I think it's just we've put a little bit of an intelligent type of system behind it. But basically, the way that you got to look at it is this: we're actually saying if people are buying it on the ETH side, they're getting exposure to it on the wax side, and they're seeing that the wax side is actually a cheaper option. It's a better option, and we're looking at introducing. We're just waiting on the confirmation. Ethereum and Bitcoin as well as wax on the wax side. So 3 payment types. Then people are going to say, well, hang on, these packs, if you do the math on the Uniswap side, are working out at, say, for example, $45 a pack, for example, and I can go over to wax and buy them for 30 as long as I'm still within that 3-hour window. That's going to bring a whole lot of new people or ETH people across to do the whole arbitrage type thing.
Yes.
So we believe that we can combat it by bringing in a new audience to say, I can get it cheaper over here, so I will.
Yeah, nice one. Very cool. So here's one. So you gave us a little sneak peek of the user interface of KOGs, the home screen or the lobby rather.
Yeah.
Now that's obviously very, very cool. Can't wait to hear the sound effects. Where did you draw the inspiration from? Because it looked like it was obviously a mix of POGs. I got a hint of Yu-Gi-Oh with Guardians of the Galaxy. If they had a little menage a trois, that's what the result would be. It was
I think
pretty slick.
it's kind of like a bit of a refreshed cyberpunk type of color scheme and all the rest of it. But we've kind of gone for that modern retro. The guys that designed this are obviously they're experts at what they do. They know what the color schemes and the systems and how things should look. So we're going for something that's pretty fresh and relevant. But yeah, it's as far as the collection is concerned, that also influences that. The collection basically draws a lot of history from KOGs as far as the types of collections that they had. Like they had poisons for slammers, and we've got venoms in this series. So we've got holograms and all sorts of cool stuff on these KOGs. So we've tried to draw inspiration from what was popular and what appealed to people. Because as a venture builder, we identify and then build and replicate business models that have been successful. So we looked at KOGs and sort of said, what would it look like if you fast forward to 2020? So that's what we've tried to do. We've tried to keep it in that theme. Yep.
Yeah, sick. So there was another little screenshot that I've seen where you've got arm height. Oh, where'd it go? So you've got arm height, strength, angle, spin. Now, if you were to master that, if you were to master all of those parameters, and you were to, and you every single time you had it on point, will you get the same result, or is it more randomized? Obviously, there's some factor of random behind the scenes, but can you actually practice? And practice makes perfect.
Practice does definitely help, and it will definitely make you better, but we've tried to, without divulging too much from the, because this is something that people will try and crack for sure, because we're going to be playing to earn in tournaments and stuff.
Yeah.
So we've tried to make it, as bot-proof as possible. And then we've also tried to make sure that there's still a healthy element of skill involved, because if it's a skill-based game and you're playing in competition in certain regions like this in the world, that's not classed as gambling or anything like that, because it's skills based. It's based on your ability to work those 4 parameters. Whereas if it's just a luck game, you can't have that. These countries will stamp that out straight away. So it is skill based, but more will be revealed by people that are more technical than me. But we are very careful to make sure that we have been keeping that part of it under wraps. But yes, we use RNGs obviously, and a combination of randomness and also making sure that each of the draws and outcomes, there's no way you can sort of crack those codes of what you're going to get or how it's going to come out.
Okay, cool. So next question is about if you've got a certain stack and you've got the right elements, can KOGs evolve? Can they morph? Do they have other powers that will come out if you've got certain other KOGs within your stack? How far does this thing go? Where does it stop?
Very deep. The rabbit hole goes really, really deep. I'll let ArcLego spoil it because he's got a pretty intricate design. But let's just say that the second edition are burnable. So there will be an upgrade system of some sort brought in. It's not going to be what people are used to. It's going to be something much more attuned to gaming. But that's pretty much all I can say on that at this moment. But the fact is, there will be powers as a result of that, yes.
Yeah, nice one. Okay. Now, a KOGs rarity subject to change. Can you elaborate on exactly what that means? Because I've had some people who have asked me, who have said, oh, hold on a second, if I get this KOG and there's only 2,000 of these KOGs, and then they just go ahead and print another, No. What exactly does that mean?
It means that the final border for that particular KOG that we were spoiling hadn't been decided yet. So if we put it up there in that new KOG in a rare border and it ends up becoming an uncommon, don't, because people take things very literally, and we hadn't yet decided which ones were the ultra rares, and commons, because ArcLego basically looks at it like a producer would look at an album, and he puts the songs out and says, that one's your hit, that goes number 1, this one goes number 2. So he balances it and makes sure that each set has an element of commons and rares and ultra rares, and he decides the format of the rarity. So what it basically meant was, we're showing you a border that will exist with a piece of artwork that will exist, but that rarity may change. We cannot change the rarities once they're in your pocket and your wallet and all the rest of it. No.
Okay. Nice one. Well, personally,
nothing sinister.
Personally, I had never noticed it, and someone pointed it out, and I went, "Oh, okay, all right, yeah. Well, I'll ask the question."
No, just for the ad, for the ad purpose.
Okay, fair enough. Now, I've missed an opportunity or two to ask a question about the RFOX tokenomics. Now it is the hottest topic, so I need to ask this one question: has there been any discussion around a burning mechanism for the RFOX token, or are you happy with the current supply? So obviously it had grown to, I think it's 5 billion after the ERC20 migration. Is it 5 billion?
No,
RFOX token? 2 billion. Okay, sorry. So getting my figures mixed up. But yeah. So are you happy? Are you happy with that figure?
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
There's going to be no burning.
Yeah, so what happened was the original supply in the beginning was 1 billion. And then what we did was when we were on the Komodo side, then we burned half of the supply. So what we did this time is we reduced the team supply by 75%. Because we know what's happening, we know what's coming, and we're that confident that that's going to be ample for us. So we're very happy with that. And it was due to vest, and we were allowed to get it, and we didn't touch it and locked it back up again. That's to show our confidence.
Yes.
Then what we did was we multiplied everybody else's holdings by 10. Now the reason that we've ended up with an increased supply is because we're going to be using the token across multiple chains, which require sometimes for the tokens to be locked in contracts to produce NFTs. They'll be over on RSK, not to come back for X period of time. So the thing is, we needed a relatively plentiful supply, especially in the gaming space, because we need to give this as an economy token. So we looked at reducing it and making it small, because the flavor of the day is now to have 26,000 tokens that are each worth $100 million each, and whatever it is that they're doing now. But the fact is that we looked at it and sort of thought to ourselves, because we're going to use the RFOX token for everything, let's make sure that it is enough of a supply. It can obviously be divisible, but we're extremely happy not only with the supply now, the fact that we do have a development fund coming in, and we also have the holders, you guys, having much more in your hands with much less to come out into the market. We really like that. The fact that before it was, you had about a third of it out in the market and 70% still to come in. And me as an investor in other projects, I don't like knowing that there's a wave of tokens coming in. So we changed that to around 67 or 70% of the tokens already being in supply.
So you basically flipped it, and that ties in nicely to the vesting period now. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it was October 2020, so 12 months from then. So October 2021, you will get X amount of those locked tokens. And then another, is it 18 months? So is it 6 months after that point?
6 months after, and then 6 months,
So
it's going to take us 2 years to get 2 years from when we did the swap to actually get our team and advisor allowances and all the rest of it. So by that stage, the company will have been around from concept to that period for 4 years. And by that time, we should be a very well-rounded and solid machine and team. And I think the thing is that we've relied from the early days on, and we've been very open about it, we hadn't and still haven't paid ourselves, the founders. We've been very mindful to just work really, really hard and put in everything that we've got towards making sure that it's a sustainable and that the business is good. And we turned around and sort of said, you know what, it's taken us a while to get to where we are with KOGs and all the rest of it. We're doing this token swap, and what we want to do is we'd like to be further ahead. We'd like to be further advanced, and we know what's coming. So let's make that call as a team. And it was really interesting because nobody turned around and said, "Nah, come on, we've worked really hard and we've sacrificed because we
flick us a bit of cash."
No, we turned around and said, we'll put the turbo boosters on this, and we'll make sure that this company rock and rolls. And at the end of the day, that no one would ever begrudge you from being able to then have your entitlement at the end of that period, because everybody's happy with the progress that you've made. So we're pretty tough on ourselves, and we sort of thought we would have liked to been a little bit further ahead than we were at the time of the swap. And now that's just going in warps. But so where we are right now is probably where we kind of thought we would be at this stage. But go back 3 months ago, and we would have thought, no, we can't get there in 3 months. We've just sort of just clicked, and it's just starting to really sort of come together now.
And at the end of the day, everyone's in the same boat over there in your office, aren't they? So it's not like anyone's harder done than the next.
No.
Okay, Beanie, this has been fantastic. It's almost been an hour and a half. Thank you. I've skipped a couple, but just to finish off, mate. I know that in
Yeah.
that noggin of yours and our Cleggers, you guys have been concocting some sort of Easter egg or two. There will be, there's come on, mate, give us a hint. Give us a hint. Is or give us a timeline of an Easter egg. Are we going to find one? I mean, that's the whole idea of an Easter egg. They're hard to find. I get that. But give us a timeline of an Easter egg.
Let's just say this, that we like the Easter eggs. We loved the last Easter egg. It was quite complicated for a lot of people, but that's kind of cool, because otherwise it's too easy and it's just becomes like a retweet giveaway type of crap. So we sort of we're talking with some other people as well, like Secret Network. If those types of things work and they do what they're supposed to do, and what another partner we're about to announce before the day before I can't say too much about it. The day before the sale, the partner we're bringing on the day before the sale is probably one of the most famous in the space. But those guys, between these guys, they have the ability for us to be able to start embedding, doing trigger-based events, so that you might have a particular cog in your wallet and it has something behind it that you can't see and nobody can verify or see what that is, and then a trigger or element makes that take off. So it's pretty exciting what can be. It is pretty good what can happen.
God. Yeah.
So this is all we've got great ideas, and then it's a matter of trying to put it all into play. But let's just say that it took a long time to put the first set together, and it was very intricate and complicated, and we plan on only doing that, even keep doing more of that. And we're the first to do a 3-hour window. We were told, that won't work, you'll have to cancel your sale, all the rest of it. And we turned around and said, no, data says it will work, and it did. But now we're doing this cross-chain sale with a elastic pool and tokens that could be redeemed or kept. And it's we just want to keep pushing the boundaries. We want to keep having people say, that's a good idea, or that's cool. And we hope that if we've done enough research and data, we've got enough data and we've got the right people, that 99 times out of 100, it's gonna work.
Yeah, I get the feeling it's certainly not going to be the last time you push the boundaries and find new ground and explore new territory. And mate, I cannot wait to see, hear, read about it, whatever it is. It's going to be exciting. I'm along for the ride. You're a legend. From what I can see, mate, you're a fantastic leader. And
thank you.
Yeah, obviously the train's only just warming up. I can't wait for it to take off.
We often pinch ourselves because we sort of say this is where we expect it to get, but we've worked really, really hard to get here. It's been an exhaustive journey just to get to this point. But I think that the people that I've worked with in the past that have been good versus the bad, and this is how you tell the difference, we've sort of firmly reaffirmed that this is the point where you don't even take 5 minutes to pat yourself on the back and say we're going well, we're doing okay. This is where we say, right, we've got an opportunity now. We either run, put our foot to the floor, and we burn and put space between us and our competitors, or we just sort of sit around and say, hey, that was pretty good, we did okay, we've got to an okay position, and then sort of just rest on your laurels. And we'd remove anybody that had that frame of mind. We have delusional aspirations of where we're going to go, and we firmly believe, if we all believe it strong enough, that we'll make it happen. And we're just going to keep finding people that also believe in our vision and are passionate, and we'll take them and you guys along for the ride with us. But we are 100%. There is no one that could walk through this front door at any stage on any day in any week and tell us that we can't do what we say we're going to do, because we're just not going to hear it. We'll do it.
Mate, I can't think of a better way to finish. That was a nice spiel. Thanks, mate. I'm pumped up now.
Thank you. Thank you. Fantastic.
Right.
Well,
awesome, mate.
Thanks for doing this for the community.
No worries.
No worries.
Cheers. Take it easy.
Speak to you shortly. See ya.
See you, mate. Bye.